All right. This is going to be a live stream of actually a very boring live stream of me doing component placement on these 5 prototypes of a board that I made. And we're just going to go through the bag of components. I got the bag of components right here. It's a plastic bag of components. And I got the 5 boards right here. I've applied solder paste to them now using the stencil. So now it's just component placement. And we're going to start with the capacitors. 0.01 microfarad capacitors are going to go on the boards. And I can see it here, so I'm going to go through the components. This is, by the way, this interactive HTML bomb. You can generate this using a KiCad plugin. And it's very nice in the sense that you can actually see where the components are located. So I'll go with this 100 nanofarad capacitor, and I'm going to click it as placed, and then we're going to place it where it should go. All right. So let's see. We've got one there, one there, and one is over there by the little hole. And then we'll go with this one. Yeah, you can't even see anything here. I really need to get a proper microscope, which I can connect to the computer, so that I can have a clear picture of what I'm doing. Right now, I don't have a clear picture here in this camera. And this camera is really not optimal for doing this kind of filming. So C14 is going to go there. And we have C15. And C. Actually, we have 2 different capacitors, because this one is actually 100 nanofarad, and it's actually 50 volts. Do we have a 50 volt? Let's see. Okay, so I had only these capacitors are actually maybe they're part of a different order, or I had something wrong in the BOM. But I think most likely this is part of some other order that I ordered at the same time, because I had enough capacitors for only 3 boards here, and the 6-volt capacitors will actually work on this board. That's not a problem. But as I go through this bag, maybe I'll discover the correct capacitors and the right number of them, which are supposed to be the 50-volt ones. But for now, I'll leave this these caps on the board and just move on. Let's see. Next, we have the LEDs, and this is the white 500. Let's see. Oh, it's these ones. All right. So I'm gonna have 5 of these. These are the warm white LEDs. I wonder why I had some 100 nanofarad capacitors only rated at 6 volts as part of the order. I can't come up with a good enough explanation for that. All right, so this is it, and next on the list we have ESD diodes, 5 volts. Do we have any ESD diodes? This one. Yep. Yep, this is D1 and D2. And we have both of these placed. And then we have D1 and D2 right there. So once I've placed all the components, I'm just gonna heat the boards up with a heat gun and solder all of them at the same time. So it's gonna be a rather simple way of soldering all of the components. And we have another one, D1 and D2. D1 and D2. D1 and D2. All right, that's done. I'm gonna mark this one as placed. Next on the list. Next out of the bag is the wireless power. Could this be a coil? Let's have a look. Oh, this is the wireless power chip. Let's place this one. This is gonna go. This is this one. VQFN 20. Okay. When I do this and I have to cough, I have to remember not to cough on the boards because then I'll blow the components away. Let's see, where's pin number 1? There. Okay. That's good. So when it comes to placing VQFNs or like QFNs in general, because we're using solder paste, we can just sort of stick them to the board just like all the other components, and then when the solder paste is heated, they're gonna move into place. So it's pretty simple to solder them with this approach. I could even also place the board in the oven, but I usually just use the heat gun. It works well. And I can also poke the components, make sure that they're all properly soldered if I use a heat gun. And this approach is it's only useful for like little batches of PCBs. It's way too time consuming anyway if this is done on a large number of PCBs. But for a small number of PCBs, when you just design a board and you want to test it, make sure that there are no bugs in it, then doing it this way is actually a very quick way of prototyping. So next on the list is the N-Channel Mosfet. Which one is that? That's gonna be this one. Let's see, got two of them. So, or no, we only got one of them. So the N-Channel Mosfet goes over there. Has a little package. You're just gonna place it where it should be. And the last one. And for some reason, all the MOSFETs have fallen with their legs up. So I have to turn them around with my tweezers before placing them. They're kind of like sandwiches. They fall the wrong side up. Right, so MOSFETs are in place. What is next? 22 ohm resistors. That's gonna be R22R, R5. What's next, Doc? R5, do we have? Yes, we do have enough R5. We have 5 of them. 5 22 ohm resistors. Okay. It's like the worst thing that can happen when placing components is that you somehow happen to like touch the boards or somehow like shake them so that the components fall or glide from their desired places. And then you can never know where they have been because all of the components look exactly the same. All of the resistors look exactly the same when you use 402 components. I use 402 components because I think it's kind of the smallest component that's okay to work with when you do manual soldering. 402. Smaller ones, they are very hard to solder without having to have a microscope and just looking through the microscope every time you solder a component. But 402 components can be soldered without a microscope. So next on the list is 10 microhenry coil. Is this a coil? 10 microhenry. Where is L 10 microhenry? This one. That's the one. That one goes there. Five 10 microhenry coils will go where they should go. So far, so good. So far, no component had a wrong footprint, which is good. So far, everything seems to fit. The ultimate question is, of course, whether everything will work. I cannot answer that question until I've tested everything. And that is the whole purpose of making these prototypes. So I can actually test everything. So, good. Next on the list, what's this? Oh, this is the QI receiver. This is a receiver coil. Nice. They're so small. I thought they were much bigger. But they're so small. I'm not gonna be soldering this coil yet, because it's gonna go on the back. So I'll just move on with the next bag. Next is the 3K resistor. 3K, where's 3K? There. Got two of them, R7 and R11. So I'm gonna place R7 and R11. There we go. R7 and R11. Every time I do this, I find this so relaxing. Just placing the components. This is like me taking a break. R11 and R7. Both are in place. Good. And the last board is going to get their R11 and R7. There we go. Next on the list is 0.47 microfarad capacitor. .47 603. There's two of them, C10 and C11. So C11 and C10. It feels like the 603 footprint is a little bit wide though. Shouldn't be a problem. The pads are still touching the pads on the board. It's just that I think I could make it a little bit smaller next time. This is the standard footprint though, the one that KiCad is using. Okay, C11 and C10. C10 and C11. Now, there's another one there. And C11, there we go. All placed. Next on the list is 10 K resistors. Three, 8, 9, and 10. R8, and then on the next board the same thing. Same. R9, R10, R3, and R8. R3, R8, R9, and R10. 10, 9, 8. And the resistors are finished. Is there any resistor left? No? Interesting. I don't see any resistor. I'll have to find another one. 10K resistor. 603 capacitor. 10 microfarads. C13 and C12. C13 and C12. So we have C12 over there. That's good. C12 on this board. That's good. And we have C11 on this board. C11 on this board. And C12 on this board. We have C12 here. And C11 here. So, next is the connector. So this connector is going to be a through-hole component, so I'm going to leave it for later. I'm going to take all the surface-mounted components first. All right, so continuing on soldering these 5 prototypes of a board I made a few weeks ago. And next on the list is Schottky diode. The Schottky diode is the BAT54. The BAT54 is supposed to go here. Got 2 Schottky diodes. I'm going to place all of the Schottky diodes where they should go. Good. Start with this one. So one and 2 and 3. And 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 . 9, and 10. So all the Schottky diodes are in place. Next on the list is the 1.5 K resistor. It's this one. And so I just place all of the resistors on the board. There's only one of them on each board, so there's only 5 in total. And they all go here, in this particular place. Next on the list is, I think this is a MOSFET. Yes, this is a, let's see. This is a TP0610, which is this one. Let's see, TP0610 goes there, and the other one goes here. When you're placing the components, they don't have to be placed exactly, but they should be touching each pad where the solder paste is. Because when you then heat up the boards, they're going to all float into place. But if they don't touch the solder paste, then they cannot float into place. It's important that they touch the solder paste. And also when the components are pressed against the solder paste, they stay in place even when you use the heat gun. Because heat gun blows air on the components, and if they're not properly fastened on the solder paste, they're going to fly away. So the last one goes there. So P-channel MOSFET's placed. Next on the list is, this looks like, let's see. Oh, right. This is the connector, but it has like a little cap on it. Nice. So this is the main connector for the debugger, the debug connector. 127 pitch. There we go. And next on the list. So I just take a random bag from the bag of components, and I see what kind of component it is. So this one is the Bluetooth module. And I wonder if I can successfully solder the VGA pads using just solder paste. I don't actually use the VGA pads on this module, but it would be nice if they still solder. VGA pads are these pads here, and they come out on the other side as just pads which one can connect wires to. Okay, let's see. It's a bit easier to place the module from the side. I think all of the castellated pins should solder just fine, but the VGA pads, I don't know. That'll be a good experiment to see if I have to do it differently next time. Come on. All right, module in place. And next on the list. Oh, I didn't actually look what was the name of the component. 1 microfarad capacitor. Let's see, let's just take the module first and tick it. And then we have 1 microfarad capacitor, which is this one. 1, 2, and 16. And my dog is asking me to go out with her and have her go to the toilet outside. So I'm gonna have to do it soon. Right. I think one of them flew away somewhere. So we'll see if all of them are here or if one of them flew away. So C1, 2, and 16, they're all there, right? So C1, C2. Actually, I'm going to place C16 here because I can see where it goes. C2. Where's C2? Oh, C2 is over there. It's right by the diode. It's rather hard to place it without messing up the diode. See? Well, messing up the resistor is right beside it. And this was slightly tight placement. Oh, fuck. I just lost one capacitor. Damn it. I squeezed it too hard. When you squeeze something too hard, you lose it. Fuck. Oh. Oh, it's actually over there. I found it. Yep. Let's see. C16. C1, C2, C16, C1. When you squeeze something too hard, you might actually strangle it. Then you lose it too. So there we go. That's C2 is the hardest one to place without messing up the resistor beside it or the diode. C16 is there. C1. Alright. And it was actually two of them that must have jumped away because missing, oh, no, actually only missed one. C16, C2, and then we have one missing, which I don't know where it is. Or actually, here it is. Could this be the correct one? No, that's not the correct one. This one is smaller. This one could actually be the one. Actually, I'm gonna leave this one because I think this is the 100 nanofarads. It's quite possible. But I don't see the slightly larger one. Must have flown away. Nope. Okay, moving on so far. LED current regulator. We got 15 of them. Now the camera lost contact. Battery is low. Okay. Okay, let's see if I can place all of these ones. It's kind of hard to see where the pin number 1 is. Oh, I see. Yeah, there is a small dot where the pin number 1 is. So let's see. Yeah, the pin number 1 is on the same side for all of them. There we go. Actually, without the camera, it's a bit boring to see this. So it's probably reasonable to just stop this video and let's see. Yeah, I need to recharge the battery. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.